Kia ora, my name is Harrison Keefe, a local citizen of the beautiful country that is Aotearoa. I moved here to the beautiful Pōneke, Wellington, the capital of New Zealand, a few years ago. And before you think about moving here to Wellington, I'm going to tell you 5 things you probably didn't know about it, just before you move, in case you want to opt out. Number 1, the only coffee you can get in this city is plunger coffee. There's a lot of misconceptions that Wellington is quite a creative, alty, hipstery place, which you'd presume baristas would line up with that whole theme. But no, there are no baristas around. We only have plungers, is what we call them, and they're just people who plunge coffee. So the only coffee you can actually get in the city is plunger coffee, but it's delicious, so it's a good thing. Number 2, the police only work 9 to 5 in Wellington. A lot of people think they work overtime or at night time, but they got up on their high horse one night and said, fuck it, we're only going to stay here till 5 o'clock. And then we're done. We want to clock off. We want to go get pissed. We want to party. So they wrote a debate a couple of years ago now, 2018, saying that the police should only work 9 till 5. And our Prime Minister ticked it off, which is amazing. But I mean, it makes for an exciting, exhilarating night. You know, if you go out after 5 o'clock and there's no police, you're always on the edge of your seat, which is kind of the thrill of it. You know what I mean? And if you're wondering, everywhere else in New Zealand has 24-hour police, but Wellington doesn't. Because they say they like to paint at night. So they all go and paint. Yeah. Number 3, the only birds in Wellington are pigeons. A lot of misconception there as well, thinking there are a lot of different native birds in Wellington because, you know, New Zealand has a lot of birds. But again, New Zealand does, Wellington does not. Back in 2014, there was the Great Bird Brigade, where the South Island came to Wellington to pick up all the birds in these big nets. So just groups of South Islanders, all from the south, came with these massive nets, and like you could line up about 16 people along them on big poles, and they went around and caught all the birds, and it took them 6 months, 6 months, a very long time, to catch every single bird in Wellington, apart from the pigeon. It's funny because there was this interview that came out at the time and somebody asked, why have you taken every other bird apart from the pigeon? And then this funny-ass South Islander was like, because they're fucking ugly. So that's why we have all the ugly, ratty, scummy pigeons in Wellington. But all the other birds are gone. Number 4, cyclists have the right of way over cars everywhere in Wellington. Which is another great petition that Wellingtonians have signed up and tried to get amongst. So if you're driving next to a cyclist, you actually have to veer off to the left and pull over so they can pass you. They were meant to stay in their bike lane to the side of the road, which the council have made for, you know, all of New Zealand. But Wellington people, cyclists, love to actually bike in front of your car. So instead of going 50k, you'd be going 10k. And to resolve that issue, they were just like, well, why don't we just have the right of way and you guys pull over? So that's what we do now, which is awesome. So just Wellington has this rule. So cyclists always have the right of way on the roads. They pretty much just run the roads. A lot of people have stopped driving. A lot of people have sold their cars for bikes. I sold my Honda Jazz for 16 mountain bikes. So I just kind of share them out between friends, or, you know, want to go carpooling or long road trip. We usually all have to get on our bikes. Cyclists are fucking lovely people. The calmest, most respectful people. So we're all really happy here in Wellington to give them the road, really. Number 5, it is ridiculously cheap to live in Wellington. 5th misconception, a lot of people think it's really, really high rent rates, which is out of this roof. A lot of people are saying it's about $250, $260 per week to live in a flat, but that's in Auckland. Wellington, no, I think the maximum is $120, which is pushing it for a week. I only pay $80 for my place, but rent is just, you know, it's the housing crisis. We got out of it a couple months ago, and now it's only $80 to live here, you know, per week, which is fucking mind-boggling. But it's amazing. Like, it used to be so expensive, and everywhere else is so expensive, but in Wellington, it is fucking ridiculously cheap to live here. So if you haven't got a lot of money, or you want to live on the cheap, come to Wellington. I hope that helped you for figuring out if you want to move to New Zealand or to Wellington or not. And if you're from Wellington, kia ora. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you are a big fan of all the rules and restrictions that we have around here, because I love them. So if you're thinking about moving to Wellington, think no more. Haere mai. Come here, come live in the beautiful Wellington City, New Zealand. If you want any more facts, let me know. But for now, that's all you need to know. See you soon.